What's up? Welcome to another episode of The Side Eye. I'm your host, Uptown Bobby.
And I'm K Clark.
And we are back once again. Our first episode of September. That's exciting. New
hmm
month. Hopefully, it's a lot cooler because this summer was hot as hell. Um,
It's been cool so far. I think it was like here it's been raining in Alexandria, so
right,
off and on. So that's kind of helped cool things down. So
right. And we're back again with another episode. If y'all pay attention, we've kind of been good with scheduling. We've been regularly putting out content, so that's good. Uh, but just stratosphere has been a little slow with news, kind of. So we've kind of been finding things we can find to talk about. But an interesting topic tonight, as of this recording, today is September 7th. The VMAs, the 41st VMAs, is taking place tonight on CBS, which is very different. For those of you who don't know, Paramount, Viacom, all that shit's under the same umbrella.
Mhm.
And MTV is owned by them. It's been owned by them for a while now. And they decided to put it on CBS. In my opinion, I don't know if this is factual, but I think it's to generate more ratings because the program has been struggling with ratings. So they put it on CBS, which could get like casual viewers to watch. Because contrary to popular belief, a lot of people still watch TV. And I think the VMAs want to lean into that because it's guaranteed ratings versus trying to depend on Gen Z and millennials who kind of don't give a fuck. But we're talking about the VMAs. We're talking about the award show that we grew up with. The award show is damn near the same age as us. And it's kind of like it became some people I know call it the white people the white people BET Awards. Other people have called it the cool Oscars of like pop culture in the music industry, mainstream music industry. And then other people be like, damn, that still come on. So we're just talking about the award show. Um, I'm gonna run into K Clark. K Clark, what was your first memory of the VMAs? Or how do you what's your first memory of the VMAs and what do you think about when you hear VMAs? Like what's the first thing that pops up in your mind?
Well, my first memory, concrete memory, was probably the 1998 one. That's my first one I remember really watching for the first time. Because they had that 1998 was the year that she had the Brandy and Monica duet, Boy Is Mine. They performed. You also had the thing with Whitney and Mariah where they came out with the matching outfits. And that's supposed to be like, that was the whole skill where they accidentally quote unquote had on the same dress. And so that was a kind of a playful little skit. I think Lauren was a big winner year.
I
What
think it
performed?
was Lauren Hill. It was Lauren
Yeah,
Hill. It was 98 or 99 when she
yeah,
won.
yeah.
And
No,
Paul
and
McCartney called her a dude.
oh, it did. Okay.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
weird. I don't know if he was joking or what, but he was like some dude named Lauren Hill. It probably was a joke.
Probably was joking, yeah. But 99 was the one I really remember more than 98 because that was the year they had the whole Dragon Trip Madonna, uh, which stood out for me. Well, I guess
I
obviously
think that
as
was
well.
the little Kim
Look, oh
titties.
yeah, the Larry J Jiggle, yeah, with Diana Ross. So that was that too. You also had TLC performing that year, No Scrubs. They had to come back with fan mail. And then on 2000, Britney Spears, her performance, and Whitney coming out in 2000, and then also 2001, another big Britney year with the whole Snake, I'm a Slave for You, and uh, I would say up until. Probably until I went to college, I was still watching pretty regularly. Around 05, 06 is when I really still watching. After that kind of shaked out. Oh no, after I said this before on probably on this podcast is this the last moment I think that really penetrated pop culture as far as the VMAs go was Kanye in '09 with the I'm gonna let you finish. Because after that, I mean, and Beyonce announcing that she was pregnant. As a runner up. Those are really the last two times that the VMAs went beyond the VMAs as far as like impact, in my opinion.
Yeah, I
What
gotta
about you?
agree. For me, 1997 was the first time I watched the VMAs and knew basically like remembered. could, recall and everything, that because Chris Rock hosted it. Chris Rock hosted
Oh yeah,
97
yeah,
and 99,
yeah.
and he was pretty funny. And it just felt like, and I also remember the Fiona Apple speech
Oh,
because it was so crazy.
this was
Like,
bullshit.
yeah, and it's like
I mean, she wasn't
she,
wrong.
no, she wasn't, but she was like the perfect. It's like she saw the future, kind of like as far
Mm.
as like the award show and everything, and just like, man, this shit's stupid. And it's like during that time, I thought it was cool that she just came up there with them hairy ass pits and just didn't give a fuck. I was like, oh, this woman don't give, because she was a big deal in '97 because of
Right.
Criminal and everything like that. So it was like a culmination of all that, and she kind of was like, I mean, I guess like fuck this award. I don't really care. She uses it more
Yeah.
so as a political moment,
Right.
and that was kind of cool looking back at, it, especially now. Shit, she sounds like your average fucking TikTok user or some shit. So it's just cool. That was one of the moments that really stuck with me, and also that was when P Diddy did this huge performance of "I'll Be Missing You,"
Hmm.
and that was the first year where people really got to mourn Biggie. That
Hmm.
was the biggest spectacle of
Hmm.
mourning him. So I remember that, and pretty much cementing Puff Daddy as a star.
Hmm. Oh, Ladies
So
Night too. I remember that just now. The Ladies Night
right,
performance with Kim and Foxy and Kim and
right,
Left Eye and missing
right, and
everybody.
and I think that was one of the things that really made the VMA stand out because it was like, granted, this was a different format as far as things, but not, pop was still mostly white centered. You still had rock as a genre that mattered. So you had a lot of variety in performances. You would have the hip hop act. You would have a kind of like either it was a true hip hop act or it was like a split between the hip hop act and the R&B act together. Then
Hmm.
you would have a rock act, and then you have a pop act, and it'll be like maybe kind of like a tribute legacy act in there in between. It was actually kind of streamlined better than the Grammys because MTV being younger and more aware of what's going on, kind of had their pulse on their hands on the pulse of what's cool. They were giving hip hop R&B more time than say the Grammys, who kind of at that time still was trying to cater to pretty much industry standards versus like VMAs was kind of like a time to give everybody shine because videos at that time still mattered. So you had people really kind of excited to see who would win what video, because especially when you had videos still having a budget and people caring about them. Like Jamiroquai, I remember that video in '97 being such a big deal because it was just impressive. This
Hmm.
video had this one artist in a room with furniture moving. Yeah, everybody was just like, "Oh my god, this is the coolest shit ever," because it was just so basic and so stripped down,
Hmm.
and just stuff like that. And then you just had bigger, I don't want to say bigger stars, but it felt like a time where the industry took more time crafting these personalities, or these personalities had more time to develop um at this
Well, I
time
think
period.
actually what you just said reminded me of a quote. I think maybe I've read like in a YouTube comment section. Somebody said MTV made music feel big. And that's what I think what I would apply to what you just said because you think about that time, with the media of MTV, because you had MTV News, MTV 1515 with Kurt Loder, like basically like a news show, but revolving around music. You had ultrasound, you had MTV Docs, and just I got all this stuff that revolved around not just showing videos, but also like going behind the scenes and doing interviews and doing in depth on the albums and like
Making the
summarize.
video.
It's like making a video like summarizing the artist's career. Like for instance, like ultrasound. For instance, like if you didn't know about Janet pre the other wrote, it talked about Control and talked about Rhythm Nation, talked about Janet album. So it almost like caught you up to where you could see why she was a big deal. Not just here's this person that sings and dances and is related to Michael. It's like this is why she's important. I think that's what made it feel big and important because they brought the prestige to it, which is kind of ironic because originally they were established to be like the VMAs were supposed to be like the anti Grammys in a way. It's supposed to be like a little raunchy, a little outrageous, a little like rebellious, which in quotation marks because MTV was like, still corporate at a certain point, at least by the end of the 80s, at least. But it was supposed to be kind of like the anti Grammys, like not as stuffy. But it still in a way made the music big, especially these people our age. And so
Yeah, and I think that was one of the things that made it fun. And I think when you still had music videos being a big part of the network, that kind of helped too.
Mm.
Because I don't know who's nominated for what tonight, but let's be real, no one gives a fuck about the awards other than the Vanguard, because
Um,
the Vanguard is basically like a lifetime achievement award.
mm.
But if we were talking about who had the best video this year, who the fuck would know? Because who watches videos? Like, let's be real, no one watches music videos anymore. MTV realized that like before video stopped mattering, MTV kind of realized, hey, we can't just have programming revolve around music videos. We kind of have to have more stuff to get more people to watch. And also, this would be a great time just to experiment. So you saw them try things like the real world, which was huge because it spoke to a generation. It was like it was educational, it was messy, it was all these things in one, but it was more than just a music video. And also it was cheap to make because you just get some
Mm.
niggas in the house and you just film them. But you also kind of still had the music element with like the soundtrack of the show.
Mm.
So you do things like the real world. You do things like um what's animation when you come along with like Daria and stuff like that. You
Mm.
kind of just take chances to build real programming because you realize like, hey, we're not even just music videos. We're like this cool, hip, young people channel. So let's just go beyond just music and videos and let's try to fill it with actual content, programming. You know what I'm saying? And it really ended up working because I started watching MTV more than say BET or VH1 because of the program of the Real World, the Road Rules,
Mm.
Daria,
Mm.
etc. Because I wanted to, I just wanted to watch TV. And now we've jumped. We're at a point to where no one, no TV, there's no TV platform dedicated to music videos. If you want to watch a music video, you go to YouTube
Mm.
or you go to the artist page or I mean, it's just so many different ways to watch an artist video. You can even watch an artist video on Apple Music or Spotify. You know what I'm saying? There's no way to just nobody's going to. I mean, I speak for myself mostly, but no one's one to watch a 24-hour block of music videos. I don't even think they do that because I know at one point MTV had these cable channels where it was like MTV Jams,
Mm.
MTV
Me
Hip Hop,
too.
whatever.
Yeah.
I don't even think that exists. So the music video pretty much dying as far as like an industry standard kind of hurt the show a little bit because there was a point where people kind of cared about the artistry of the video or the video itself, but now it's just like it's kind of just become a low stakes Grammys, but
It's a legacy thing.
it's a
You know.
legacy thing, and also it's just also accepting to more people who don't even really do music. Because
Mm.
now they invite people who are influencers and things of that nature to come on the show and kind of have a part, you know what I'm saying, or highlight them. It's not really about the music videos. It's not about the awards at all. It's about just the performances and yeah, that's really it. Like it's that's really it.
Well,
Because I think the last moment they had that transcended the award show was probably the Nicki Minaj and Little and Miley Cyrus beef.
oh, we I forgot about that.
Um, yeah, that was good. That was good. Which was kind of random. I was like, damn, why are they beefing? But that's kind of where we are with the show. It's more so just a spectacle, and like you said, a legacy thing now because they keep trying to throw. I mean, ever since they made the Vanguard Award the centerpiece of the show, it's just become like here's the best of pop culture from like the last 10 years.
Well, I think a couple of things. I think people still do watch music videos. They just don't watch them in the same collective way we used to, because there's more options. Like back in when we were growing up. I mean, you had MTV, VH1, and BET, and if you lived in a big city, maybe like Video Music Box or some other a couple other places. And so if for instance, I remember like when Missy came out with The Rain. They played that video like 6 times a day. That song, and so we all and it's the MTV BET, so we all, if you're that in that age range, y'all gonna sit there and just watch it all day because you ain't got no other option. If you don't watch it there, you can't watch it anywhere else. And so that power that we had, like we all saw her, we all saw her, we all saw what she looked like, we heard the song all the time. And so it made it bigger in the sense that, if you were of that age range, let's say, 12 to 25, then you're always watching the same stuff to a degree, unless you just were checked out, and super underground. But now it's like, an artist may be really popular and they come up with a new video, unless you follow that artist on Instagram, or maybe you see clips on TikTok that goes like, if they like gets really hot for a week or a couple of days, you could Megan Thee Stallion or Sabrina Carpenter or Chappell Roan, whoever, come out with a video and you could pass you right by. Now, part of this is because they're talking like a younger age demographic than what we are, but it's also because it's not centralized the way it used to be. It's all scattered. So there's that too. I think MTV, in a way, it was a good idea to diversify with the real world and Road Rules and Daria and Beavis and Butthead and all that stuff, in the 90s. But by the time you get to like the mid aughts, they doubled and tripled down on the reality TV to the point where it was like, it went from maybe being 60% or 70% music and 30% reality TV to being like 80% reality TV and 20% music and then 100% reality TV. Like, to the point where it's like, is this a music channel? That's what the M stand for? Oh, okay. So they kind of did themselves in by not trying to find a way to speak to Gen Z via music and find a way to communicate with them via music, I think.
Well, I think I think they tried, but I think they were trying to be forward thinking because I think they saw what was going to happen with
Mm.
music videos not mattering.
Mm.
So they started making their own content. But then what really happened was nobody has cable anymore. So that's the biggest hindrance to MTV being what it is now. No one has cable. And when you don't have cable, you're not going to know what the fuck they're showing. Like if you ask somebody on the street, what's their favorite TV network? They're gonna say Netflix or Hulu or Prime or Disney Plus. Like people who are under our age don't even really know what network a show originated from. They just
Mm.
know it's streaming on something. Like how many people know The Office was made by NBC under 25? Probably not many people. They just know it's streaming on whatever it's streaming on.
Mm.
And when you have that, when you lose that brand identity, you kind of like lose it. You just don't know what to do. MTV is still MTV, but I think they show like reruns of like Rob and Derek for like
Mhm.
half the block is like Rob whatever the fuck that dude now. You know what I'm talking about?
Robin
Ridiculousness.
Big, yeah.
Ridiculousness. That
Yeah.
guy, the
Mhm.
white guy. Is this that's the most of the programming is ridiculousness. And that show is just slop too, because it's just him and random people sitting on the couch watching clips on like online shit.
Mm.
So it's just I don't know. I think the lack of people having cable is what really hurt MTV the most because until that Ox point, they phased out the music shit because they just realized nobody give a fuck about music videos unless you like Kanye, Beyonce, or whomever, like a huge star. And then rock was kind of like fading into the side, and pop was
And
kind of scattered.
we also had this is post Napster early streaming, so that hurt the business side.
Right.
So
And
so
then
you, could, so
social
you couldn't
media.
yeah, you couldn't afford to spend $1 million videos in the
Yeah,
90s.
yeah. So
So
it just became a thing where all these things were happening at once. And I give MTV credit for like kind of realizing this shit was going to happen by logging, by falling back on the programming side because that's what kept it afloat. You saw them lean into stuff like Teen Mom and
mhm.
just
Sweet
really
16.
random, yeah, like really random shit that was like this ain't got shit to do with music, but it was engaging. Like the challenge has nothing to do with music. The challenge is just it was a concept of the real world versus road rules, and
Mm.
now it's just reality TV people from all types of shit competing for money, doing like crazy challenges and shit. Like that's a thing. And then now they're owned by Paramount, and Paramount's pretty much like, man, we just y'all are just IP. So now you're just fodder. You're just another thing to put in a portfolio. That's why they put the shit on CBS because they was like, look, there's a certain demographic of people who still watch TV, network TV. Let's lean into them. So we're going to put these commercials on during football games because a lot of people love football, watch football, and we're going to highlight Busta Rhymes, Ricky Morton, and Mariah Carey. Now those acts,
Wait,
legacy acts.
what you text me when you said that? Was this 2000? You
Yeah,
said
yeah. Like what is this, 2000? But if you're putting it on CBS and you got people watching football, then you're gonna throw those names out of the people who are like, damn, Ricky Morton still alive? I kind of want to see that. Or, Busta Rhymes, I don't know, why not? Or Mariah Carey, yeah. And, Mariah Carey getting honored is cool, but it's just like I don't want to dedicate an hour or 2 hours of my life to sitting through the whole thing to see her get honored. I just don't.
What,
When I could just watch a clip
I'm about to say that's another
later.
thing too. That's another thing because back in the day, even with us, like if you miss the jiggle moment with the Diana Ross and Lil Kim, you had to wait till they reran it. If you
Yeah.
missed
And
the
you had to
performance,
watch the whole
you had to watch the
thing.
whole thing just to see if when they played it back. Let's say one of those MTV 20 specials or whatever, they would show
Mm-hmm.
something. But like that's the difference now too, because you say VHS somebody under the age of 25, they're like, what? What's that? What's a floppy disk? So that's the difference too. Like even now, I say to myself, like I watch tomorrow on YouTube with Mariah. So I mean, that's it's no longer appointment television in that way.
Exactly. And that's a huge thing too, because back then we had no other choice
Mhm.
but to sit and watch that shit in
Yeah.
real time because granted they were gonna play it again,
Mhm.
but
You
why
know
not just
when?
watch
Yeah.
it? Right, right. They're gonna play it on like a cycle or a loop, but it's like why not watch the shit now, get it out of the way, and then me watching it now, I could go back to school, or I could call my friend and be like, man, did you see that?
Mhm.
Versus having to wait. But now, man, we're so fortunate. We're gonna get clips of the best part before the night, like while the show's ongoing.
Mhm.
If you're on Twitter or whatever right now, you can watch most of the show without having to sit there and watch it, you know what I'm saying, like in real time. You just get the best parts.
Mhm.
So that's kind of like where we're at right now as far as the technology hurting the show. And then also it's just one of those things that time just kind of changes. And I think we talk about this often on the show about people not handling change well, especially when it comes to like elements of like pop culture. Like I see people calling this summer of movies a flop. And I'm like, and it's only because it didn't make as much money as last year. But I'm like, I went to the movies 3 times this summer. You know what I'm saying? I
Mhm.
think I only went one time last summer, and that was to go see Inside Out and two. And then you think about people who went to go see Sinners this year as well. And that was a huge moment for a lot of people, a big success. But you have other people in the industry who say, oh, this is a failure only because it didn't just rake in all this fucking money. But I'm like, the industry has changed. And I think it's a huge success that people still go see movies when they can just choose to stay in their house and watch whatever the fuck they want to watch.
Now, so
Versus
shoot, motherfuckers broke, so
Man, niggas broke too. Yeah, niggas is
so
broke. Right, right.
that's the
So
main headline shoot.
exactly, that's the main part. And then also when it comes to stuff like the VMAs and like the difference is, I think them, I think the show still even existing is a feat because the MTV Movie Awards don't exist. So what'd you
Now, I don't know why I laughed at that, but I mean, because I mean, compared to the VMAs, that was kind of like I think that was like an offshoot. Like VMAs are popular. Let's do our version of the
the
Oscars.
Oscars?
The
Right,
anti-Oscars. So yeah,
right.
but yeah, it's had probably similar struggles because the same way that music videos used to be able to penetrate the culture at large. It's probably harder for movies to do that. That's why people react so strong to like the Sinners because it was an organic out the box hit.
Right. An
Same
original
with
movie.
right, same with weapons. It's an organic sort of phenomenon. People going to see it and it be in the top of the box almost we got the week. That's hard to do in this current landscape with everything with so many options. You know.
Hmm.
Because
Yeah, and that's
because again, back in the day, if you didn't see a movie that summer, you had to wait till maybe 4 or 5, 6 months till it came out on DVD. Now it's like, oh, it'll be on streaming in about 2 months, month and a half, you
Yeah,
know.
if that, yeah, yeah, you had to make it a blockbuster night. You know what I'm saying? And if
Yeah,
you ain't had no money, shit, then you really had to wait till that shit came on HBO. And then if you ain't had cable, you had to wait maybe like a year or two for that
TBS time.
motherfucking
Yeah.
cable TV. Yeah, so it was a lot of patience back then. You know what I'm saying? As far as media went or
Mhm.
consuming media
Mhm.
versus now to where I get what I want when I want it,
Yeah.
and that's hard for a generation to. And I like the time thing, the attention deficit. Like, man, I'm not just. I'm almost 40, and I don't want to sit down for 2 hours plus just staring at a screen. Like, not like that.
Yeah. Well, I think with the VMAs, it could be a case of just, I had this moment too, after probably this is 4 or 5, maybe 6 years ago. I think watching the VMAs or the AMAs and being like, who was that? Who are they? What they saying? Oh, all right, yeah, I recognize that person. Who are they again? Like, so some of it's that we being aged out of the center of pop culture. So some of it's due to that, which some people have a hard time accepting that than others. But you know, that's another reason probably why they highlighted the names they did on CBS. Busta Rhymes, Ricky Martin, Mariah Carey, because if Gen X or millennial, you know those names right off the top of your head.
Right. And I think it's something they do intentionally for like really shit. They always do it, honestly, because I know they did an NSYNC reunion in 23, and that
Mm,
almost made me watch it, but I didn't.
mm.
Um, and I know, and years, and this Vanguard thing is really what gets people to even try to watch it
Mm,
because it's artists that we know and have longevity, like Missy, for
mm.
instance. I think she got it. Did she get it last year?
Not last year, the year before that, maybe.
Okay, yeah. So that's a reason why somebody will want to watch. You know what I'm saying? Or whoever they give the value. They gave Beyonce one. They gave Justin
Mm,
Timberlake one. Kanye got one. It's those things that kind of get people to kind of generate interest and want to watch it.
mm.
But man, you can only do that shit so many times, really, because
Well,
like
yeah, it's diminishing returns, like they're scraping, like who's left?
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like who let you will get to a point to where you gonna have motherfuckers getting VMAs. You gonna be like, damn, I ain't never seen one of his videos like a Vanguard Award.
I
Shit, Lil
mean,
Nas, they probably get a Vanguard 5 years from now.
yeah,
Shit,
I
maybe
mean,
not even 5 years from now.
yeah, I mean, I could see like SZA getting one because she has still some interesting videos, or like maybe Kendrick, or like
Oh,
um,
Kendrick, yeah, Kendrick for sure.
yeah,
Cause Kendrick,
you know,
Kendrick, uh, Kendrick is one of those last artists left
mm,
who make videos that people kind of actually want to see,
mm.
or it's a but like when the Not Like Us video, like you had to watch. I mean, I ain't
It,
gonna say you
it
had to watch it, but
it
there
it
was some interest
penetrated,
in it.
yeah.
Right, right, right.
Mm,
People wanted to watch it,
mm,
and
mm,
that's the thing now about music videos. If you not the super god level tier videos, ain't nobody really outside of just fans of that particular artist. Nobody really like seeking that shit out. It's even artists that I love and like, and I don't even give a fuck about. I don't care if they got a music video or not. I don't. I mean, why would I? It's like, why would I care if they got a music video out if I like the song? And I guess it's because I can go to the song whenever I want to go to the song. I remember music videos was a way if you couldn't buy the CD or afford the CD, then just going to the TV was your way of being able to listen to the song. Then the radio.
mm,
And now I got a radio 24/7 in my hand. Like I don't
mm,
need to watch a music video to hear the song, you know?
mm.
And the artistry has kind of like been lost too because I mean, I don't know. There's no reason for me to really seek out videos if I know it's just gonna be a motherfucker standing in front of a camera just yeah, 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 dancing or whatever. It's
All the
like
videos.
yeah, it's like, let's be real. And then it's like Beyonce. Beyonce don't even make music videos no more. Like one of the biggest complaints people had for Renaissance, where's the visuals? Where's the visuals? Beyonce, like, y'all get that shit in a package later when I give a fuck. I'm going to lie and tell y'all I recorded it did, but y'all gonna get all this shit after I finish these 3 acts, and it's gonna be a bonus feature, and y'all gonna spend like $80 on this big package, and it's
Damn.
gonna have gonna have a QR code to all my videos. But it's like Beyonce don't even give a fuck about videos. So if
Yeah.
Beyonce don't give a fuck about videos,
Well, I think in her case, she has the option because her visuals are going to be the tour. And because she's compensating another way because you don't do that many costumes night after night. Like every city has different costumes for her and dancers, and not just like changing the colors, like different outfits by different designers. She's still doing visual stuff, but she's just concentrating on the performance visual instead of the music video visual. For me, I'm interested in the visual for artists if they create an expectation for it. Like SZA, I would want to see what she does with her visuals for her next project. Or Kendrick, same thing. Frank, Tyler the Creator, so on and so forth. Like if they've made a point of like really pushing things with visually, then I'll be interested in seeing what they do with the video. Um, Other than that, not so much with other artists. That's not their main focus. Like Jill Scott or somebody. No interesting. She has some nice videos, but that's not her main thing. I do think it's a shame in a sense because you think about like a lot of directors back in the day. That's how they got their Star Wars music videos. Like you think like Hype Williams or like uh forgot his name Benny Boom and like
Right, Dave
David
Myers,
Myers, David
Joseph
Fincher.
Kahn.
David Fincher got his start directing
Uh,
videos as
it was a
well.
guy named Little X, and then he changed his
Yeah.
name to X. So
Right.
yeah, yeah, and that is a good point, and I never thought about that. Like until you just said that those guys who sold like body of work was just music videos,
And then they
and
able
I
to do other things, so
and I think technology kind of ruined that too because now if I'm an artist, I'm a DIY it. I'm gonna make my own music video. You know what I'm saying? Or you could really just shoot something off a phone, and
mm,
that's cool. You know what I'm saying? Like you
mm,
don't really have to do. It's one thing you don't really have to do a music video, but you also don't even have to put that much money and energy into it because it's kind of like you at this point, if you're an artist, you're doing a music video almost because you want to do a music
mm.
video. You don't even necessarily have to do a music video.
Well, the thing is,
Um,
you can do one, but it'll be 15 seconds instead of 3 minutes. Being in that, it'll be a 50-second reel on TikTok or Instagram instead of being a full length video. Well, if here's a full length video, you take it and like cut it up into like 30, 40 pieces of like little short content. This that you push on social media. Speaking just from my own experience,
no,
because
I mean that's real.
yeah, 'cause-
That's the new way to do it now.
mm,
Uh, you splice it and you hope maybe a portion takes off, or you
mhm.
really because the music video was really just a vehicle for the song.
Yeah, yeah, it's a
And once
commercial.
people, yeah, a commercial, and once people, I think when people got access to the music, they didn't necessarily need the video to drive them to the music, if that makes sense. Like, if I could just listen to your song all day, I don't really need the music video. You know what I'm saying? I could just listen to the song because the video is really just an extent, like we just said, it's a commercial for the song. It's just an extension of the song in a sense. But I could just go to your album and listen to it. I don't necessarily need the video anymore.
Well, it depends because sometimes I think the video could like give the song an extra sort of oomph that it may not have otherwise. I'm thinking of like what's that Don Glover song for me for a couple of years ago? Um,
What, This Is America?
mhm. Because you
Oh,
listen to a song,
I still think that shit trash. But yeah,
but I mean,
I
this
get.
is a song on its own. It's like okay, it's all right, but then you apply the visuals and then you come back to the song. It's like when you think of the song, when you hear the song, you think of those visual elements, or a song like even like a prayer. Like on a song like a prayer, you hear the lyrics like, okay, she's talking about down on my knees. She's praying, but also she could be talking about, giving oral. Yeah, but then you pair it with the video where it's like it's burning crosses, there's stigmata, she witnesses a murder and a black man being falsely accused and then making love on the altar. It's like all this stuff is applied to it that you never applied to the song itself on its own. So in that sense, it can help sort of view the song with a deeper meaning or means that you couldn't necessarily hear solely by the lyrics. So I think it depends on the artist and how much they put weight on the visual elements, really.
How much effort? Yeah, but it's just
Because you think Prince really didn't have great videos.
nah. Prince didn't care about music videos like
No.
that. Most of Prince videos, if you think about it, was just him footage of him performing the song,
Mhm.
like actually like
Yeah.
performing the song. You know, he wasn't like, and I think part of that was done on purpose because Michael Jackson was like the person who kind of made videos like this art form.
Short films.
right. And
That's what
then
I would
Prince
call
kind of like was
it.
like, man, I'm not doing that shit. You know,
Yeah.
Prince was like, if I want a movie, I'll make a fucking movie. Like, like what you did, you know, with
Purple Rain,
Purple
yeah.
Rain, Under the Cherry Bridge or whatever.
I'm Cherry Moon and
Cherry Moon, yeah.
Alphabet Bridge or something. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, in that element, you know what I'm saying? And I
Graffiti
think
Bridge.
that right.
Yeah.
And that way, yeah, he made his own movies. He didn't really do that shit. And it's a
Mm.
lot of artists I think like that too, because uh as much as big as Drake is, Drake really didn't have any just awe-inspiring music videos until Hotline Bling. And I really just think that was just kind of
Look.
like a moment, you
Mm.
know. I don't think that was necessarily just, oh my God. Frank Ocean don't really have great music videos. Uh, and I think that was just because the tide was changing because it was just
Mm.
like you don't really have to you don't have to do it anymore. You don't like you can choose to do it, but you
Yeah.
don't have to do it.
Yeah, if you do, you have to really make a effort to be standout at it. Like Mr. Frank about this song Janelle Monáe, because she's someone who really like put an effort into like making her story, making because the music itself is already kind of visual and cinematic. So like if you see the visual, it's like oh okay, like like stuff like Dirty Computer and that whole was a whole sort of tele movie in and of itself, with the album. So like I think it's like if artists does try to do the visual elements and they really have to sort of make an effort to like make them kind of mean something, not just like throw it out there and say, hey, here's a video.
Right,
No.
because that's just
Mm.
what it is, man. And I think the it's almost like the industry ate itself because it just got to a point to where it just became like this assembly line thing. And once streaming came and people stopped, once streaming and social media came, it's kind of like the model got broken because the way you used to push an album with the quote unquote rollout, it kind of started to collapse because nobody had to go. It got to a point to where there's no TRL, there's no 106 Park, there's no none of those things you have to do anymore to push an album. You had people like Beyonce who just drop an album out the sky. Then you got people who come and just, do a project here, do a project there. It just changed. And it's like the industry, I don't think the industry ever really prepared. I don't even think they thought ahead to this point. I think it just happened. You know, like I mentioned MTV earlier having the foresight to be like, okay, videos is cool, but I think we need to use this time to expand upon just music videos. Like, let's make content, original content, to where we can fill these blocks with just music videos. Cause I think, and I'm just speaking from my perspective. I haven't heard anybody say this from MTV, but I just think maybe they were thinking we have all these eyes on us. We're this channel that's this forward moving channel. Let's make forward moving uh productions like the real world and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Or let's really document, let's be a time capsule of a sort. And I think the industry in itself didn't think about that because you saw how Napster came and Napster kind of just almost broke the industry then because they were like, oh shit. You know what I'm saying? And then you had all these other things come along with the internet getting faster and then social media coming. It just kind of broke a model that needed to be repaired a long time ago. But nobody really thought long term about it.
Well,
It was
well,
just
actually,
like this
in
shit
terms of
works.
there's a Napster who thought about it. What's his name? Lars Ulrich from Metallica thought about it. But the thing was is that it was the right message, but the messenger was fucked up because it came out at the time, as I remember, it came out as like here's this rich rock star complaining about trying to sue his fans for like taking his music, but in the long term he was right. It just that coming from him, it felt like a greedy person wanting
Oh
more
man.
money.
Right.
Well, agree, yeah. And but had it been like a mid-tier indie artist saying, "Hey, if you just download my music and don't buy my $10 CD at my show, I can't feed my family." Like literally, like, it's not I won't have an extra yacht. It's that I won't have any. I won't have extra food to pay my bills. And so I think what you have now is that you have a generation of people who have grown up with the entire library of music on their phone for essentially free or essentially for $10 a month. And so I think music itself and artists have been devalued. You put, what do? You put a song on when you're cooking, you put a song on when you're studying, you put a song on when you doing other stuff. It's not the main event. It's not gonna come. It's like Like I can't think of some time when people I can't think of somebody like under 25 thinking I'm gonna go home and listen to an album as the main objective. You know,
It depends on the artist. If it's
probably,
like Beyonce
it probably depends. Yeah,
or like a Drake or like
I'll
a
give them some
Kendrick,
credit.
then they'll give that time or they'll
Mm,
devote like an event around it. You know what I'm saying? If it's like a
mm,
major artist that do
mm.
that, but some people should just become background fodder.
Yeah,
And like you said, yeah, it's not many people who dedicate, like you just said, I'm finna sit down and just listen to the album. They like, I'm just gonna turn this on, like you said, to clean up or
mm,
just have something in the background.
mm.
So it's changed in a way because the album used to be like an experience, and I think videos were part of the experience. But now we've just grown into this. You just get it directly. You don't need all that now. You just it's just coming. It's coming to you because it used to be like you had to get up, put on clothes, leave your house, and go to the record store or wherever and buy a CD.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? And to buy that CD, you needed some oomph. So you needed a music video. You needed the artist to go on your favorite talk show and talk about it. You needed the artist to show up here and talk about it. You needed to hear it on the radio to make you want to get out your house and go get this product. But now you ain't gotta do none of that. You just wake up, roll over, and press play. And I think for the artists, they've realized that okay, I don't have to do. Well, I'm not gonna say they don't have to work as hard, but they don't have to do media circuits and all this shit to promote an album and still get success from it, which is kind of a good thing because if you're an indie artist, you can kind of make the music at your own time and your own pace and then release it. And then if they come, they come. You know what I'm saying?
They come, but I guess my point thing is like, you know, they can come and they can stream, but the streams ain't shit. They ain't shit. Like I mean, you could if you get like and that's if you even get to 1,000 streams. If you don't get to 1,000 streams, you ain't getting paid nothing. You don't get paid until after your first 1,000 streams. And what you get paid is like what, less than a third of a penny. So let's say your song come out and it gets like 100,000 streams. Maybe you get like, you know, a nice $50 off of that, 75, maybe 100, you know. And I guess what I'm, you know, what I mean by not bad with music is just like people are so used to getting music for like free or less or like just less than that they don't necessarily care about it in the sense of like, you know, the person that made this needs to be compensated in some kind of way, you know, for their work.
Oh no,
So,
nobody gives a fuck
yeah,
about
yeah.
that.
So you know, it's overcorrection because back, you know, because we mentioned the CD era is like, you know, they were using us because you would get a CD and you have like two good songs and 10 shitty songs. And at some point, that's why it naturally became so popular because people were sick of being charged $18 for like a CD with only one good song. But now it's going swung the other way to where people are like, you know, where people are like don't think they should pay for music at all, and just think that, you know, well, this the business, the grind hard, nigga. Like it's like it's like what, you know, well, damn, I need some, you know,
Right. Yeah, it's fucked up, man. And it's
yeah.
just it is fucked up, man. Because I do think about that every once in a while. Like, damn, people really out here working hard. Because you know, you it's like versus then you didn't really know too many people who quote unquote made music. You maybe had
Mhm.
an uncle or a cousin who wanted to rap. But nowadays, shit, you half the people you might know might do music. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Or create. So you kind of have a firsthand experience at somebody who's an artist and they're trying to do it. And for some people, they think, well, nigga, you chose that. Like, you know, anybody put a gun to your head till you do that. Then you got other people who are like, oh yeah, man, I'll support you. You know, I'll come to your show. I'll do this and I'll do that. And it's a hard, you know, it's just that typical trope of the starving artist. It's like, you know, do you continue to
It's
pour
real.
your all into this because you love it, but also you love it to the point to where you want to do it full time. But also it's like, well, shit, a nigga still got to eat.
Mhm. Well, the thing is, it's the star of arts is romanticized, and so it's like, you know, the idea of suffering for your art is romanticized, and like, and so if you start to say, well, actually, no, I would like to get paid more than less than a third of a penny per stream. I would like to, you know, have some sort of safety net as an independent artist, and all of a sudden, oh. But you don't want a bad enough, or you just want a handout, or you just, oh, what did you do for the love of it, nigga? It's like, well, okay, yes, you love to do it, but also, you know, being capitalism, I would like to have some sort of safety net because I put it this way: when the world shut down, what did everybody do? Watch
Stay
movies,
inside. Oh,
listen to
watch
music.
movies. Yeah.
Who made those
Right.
things?
Yeah.
There you go.
I guess, and also some people just see the industry side. Like
Mm,
sometimes some people just see this corporation that just put it out, this faceless corporation.
yeah.
And for them, they don't really see the sacrifice, all that work behind the scenes. You know what I'm saying? They just
They
see
they they think of the top 1%, not the
right,
99% that's like,
right, 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 right. Like
your working class musician or artist. Yeah.
right.
Mm,
And that was the same way with the
mm,
actor strike. A lot of people thought it was like, man, them people rich. But it
mm,
was like, no, it's not just Brad Pitt and all them. You gotta think about the person who still works as a waitress who
mm,
happens to get paid work to be an extra or
mm.
doing plays and shit like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
Like there's a whole
People
it's
in
a whole
commercials. Yeah.
industry. Right, right, right. It's a collective industry. But a lot of people don't think about that or pay attention to that because they just see it as this evil, faceless corporation who just
Mm,
gets a lot of money.
mm. Yeah,
So,
yeah.
but
We
I
can
want
kind
artists to
of
get paid.
coming off on a tangent there, but
Yeah,
yeah.
and I think artists do deserve to get paid because you spending your time, your energy creating something. And it's also gonna be interesting too to see how this goes with AI being a thing now,
Mm.
because we might have a point to where we get AI artists or
You
you
already
know,
do.
right. Well, yeah, but I mean one that cracks that
Mm.
that glass, one
Yeah.
that becomes something that is actually like people like or people can support. You know what I'm saying? And it'll be
Mm.
interesting to see how that becomes a thing or how is that like even regulated. Because the closest thing I can think to something like that is like the gorillas, but
Mm.
behind the cartoon is niggas
Mm.
still playing instruments. You know
Right,
what I'm
yeah.
saying?
Mhm.
But right, but that's how they're like kind of put out as like this creative force that characters who are animated or whatever. So,
Well, even years ago when they had like the hologram Whitney and the hologram Tupac,
oh
performing on
yeah.
stage, it's like I went with that then because it's like, I mean, if you want to spend money on that, then it's your money to do what you want to do, but it's like it's not Whitney, it's not Tupac. It's like there's no the thing you're seeing perform was like performing to it's a pre-recorded show already. There's no thrill of like seeing this person like hit the high note and do the thing that you love because it's like a hologram. It's not real. you know,
Yeah.
you better go into a 9,000 witness at your local drag bar.
I think
Shoot.
I just stay in the house for that. I ain't spend no money to see no damn hologram. But that's just me though. Hey, but
Yeah,
but yeah,
do what you
we're
did.
we're going towards even further unknown territory with AI being in the fold now.
Yeah.
Now what we're talking about might not happen next year or maybe 5 years from now, but it's probably gonna get to a point to where it does happen.
Well,
And I don't know how that's gonna really be a thing. How does people gonna react to that?
I mean, AI, I mean, it depends. I mean, like the same way people have been trained to, not expect to pay much music. You train people not to expect to, just to love a virtual artist. If they, if your main interest in music is just, I like to hear some shit in the background while I'm studying or cooking or jogging, which is fine. Everybody does that for different things. But it's like if you're not in love with music or interested in artistry or things like that, then it's easier for you just to like, accept music from whoever, whatever. Because it's like, okay, it's about, did the person make it? I don't give a damn. Shoot, and dance.
Yeah. And
you
I
know.
think, like I said, knowing artists personally kind of makes some people sensitive to that train of thought. Like me knowing you, and I know a few other local artists. And when they have shows, if I have time, I try to pay to go see them. You know what I'm saying? It was this one guy I know he rapped, and I went to go see him, and he had a CD, and I bought it because I know that cash, that $10 I gave him is going directly in his hands and it's going in his pocket versus me streaming it. And like you said, I got to stream it this many times for him to get just this fraction of what he truly deserves. So I get the value of supporting the artist, and if you can support an artist, please try to. I definitely tried my best to see artists, especially in person. And that's getting trickier too because it's getting so expensive. It's
Yeah.
getting to the point to where you really have to budget and also kind of gotta pick who you want to see because not everybody can afford to see Beyonce. Not everybody can afford to see Taylor Swift. Not everybody can afford to see Kendrick and SZA. You know what I'm saying? You kind of
Mm.
gotta support. Shit, it almost makes you more of a fan of indie artists because you can pay $40 and you can go see an Odyssey or you can go see a Currency or you can go
Mm.
see uh shit. I would think Destin Conrad would be under $50 or $50, no more. But people
Maybe
like
like
that,
a Duran Bernard, maybe probably still in that range.
right,
Yeah.
about 50, $75.
Yeah.
Yeah. And able to have a good time. You know what I'm saying? Um, so that's another thing too. And those artists are very vocal and candid. I think Duran Bernard should be somebody who should probably have a segment at the VMAs, but shit, he can't even get a segment at the BET Awards, I think. But I don't know.
Mm.
Uh, but yeah, man, it's an interesting time to see things like the VMAs and the BET Awards and stuff like that still trying to stay afloat because it's a model. I'm not gonna say that that's going extinct, but it's a model that I think it's gonna be a point to where I don't know. I don't know how you keep
It,
it
it
relevant.
it belongs to the traditional media apparatus that is like fighting for relevancy to sound all
Right.
intellectual,
I
but
mean,
I mean, but
truthfully,
it's
yeah.
yeah, that's what it is. It's like it's traditional. It's from MTV. It's traditional media. It operates like traditional media. That's why it's on CBS, which is one of the three big networks, and so it's just like they're trying to prop it up until they can't do more. I think, it's pretty much what it is. It's just like they're trying to, like I said, I think the reason why they highlighted Busta Rhymes and Mariah Carey and Ricky Martin is because they played who's those names struck a bell with. Now with Gen Z or Gen Alpha with
Yeah,
us,
people who watching
with
TV.
with Gen X, So it's just like as we age and get older, I mean, they'll probably become less relevant unless somehow they find a way to appeal to Alpha and Gen Z. So.
And I
You
say
hope,
good luck because
yeah,
them niggas
yeah.
don't watch TV.
Well, I mean, like I said,
um,
they were if they unless they find a way to like meet them where they're at, all the ways they're online or whatever, and always they stream, then they'll go the way of American Bandstand and or whatever shows that were popular and were institutions, but kind of got phased out.
yeah, it's going to be an interesting way. They're going to have to get because you would think they would have found that out by now because like we've been online for what 20 plus years now,
Oh,
and then stuff like that. But I don't
um,
know.
I mean, at a certain point, it's kind of, I think they gave up on us. Like once you get to
Oh
airing,
yeah, they don't give a fuck.
yeah, once you get to airing ridiculous, it's 24 hours a day. I mean, they didn't care anymore. I
No,
mean,
they don't give a fuck. And I think that's why
so
Paramount and the big wigs they're probably like, well, let's just put it on CBS, and we can probably get 1 million people to watch it just because it's on
mhm,
CBS,
yeah,
or
like
well, probably less than 1 million, but 400K or whatever,
right.
uh, and that's enough for them, to
But
make a profit.
like everything evolves, and then everything. Some things start off like it's shiny and new to pun intended with MTV because that was like a version of VMAs, and then they get and then things become big and mainstream, and then they kind of become corporatized, and they kind of just I guess it's become less relevant. Think of
Yeah,
any.
I would love to see a documentary about that. Like I don't know, call it like when MTV was cool or some shit, and just talk about like that time period, like from I guess the
Well,
late '80s to maybe
I, I
2005. I don't know.
I know they did one for the VMAs when MTV turned 20. They did a whole series of things on MTV turned 20. That's like an old one. I'm not sure if they did anything when they turned 40 or 30, but they may have. I'm sure somebody wrote a book about it or did like a series on it. I mean, it definitely be for history's sake. It would definitely be interesting to do something like that. But then, man, BEG, uh, you know,
Yeah, I always feel like BET never got fully formed. I always felt like BET never became its own thing. I still feel like that. I feel like BET became like MTV for black people, and then it had like some great ideas, but everything was kind of like a carbon copy of what I think the most creative thing that BET probably did was College Hill, but then some people probably like, well, College Hill just black version of the real world. And I'm like, whatever. But
Teen Summit.
well, no, Comic View. Comic View
Okay.
was probably the most original thing BET did. And I think BET had a lot of success with it because it tapped into just stand-up comedy the way we did it and it put it
Mm,
on TV. It made it accessible. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of those comedians, not everybody was as successful as Martin Lawrence, Bernie Mac, those type of guy, but you still
mm.
had like your um uh what's that guy name? Ricky
Cat Williams on there.
Smiley,
Cat
Ricky
Williams on there.
Smiley, Cat
Yeah.
Williams,
Hmm.
um
Uh,
shit, D.L. Hughley,
mhm.
Arnez J,
What was what's his name
Bruce
on there? D
Bruce,
D, D Ray was he on there?
D-Ray, Bruce
Okay,
Bruce, Monique hosted, Monique was a host on there,
yeah.
Miss
Mhm.
Laura, some more things like people like that, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, and I always think BT was kind of close. It felt like they was getting to the point, but then either the money got funny or whatever, and then eventually when they just sold the Viacom, it just kind of got lost in the sauce. Now it's pretty much like Tyler Perry Network. But
Uh,
yeah, it's an interesting time to see some of the things we used to, and it just shows you how media changes and grows. It's a thing that it evolves.
yeah, I
Uh,
mean, because it's just like back in like I'm sure we were doing this some version of this in the '80s. We were talking about how oh, look at CNN, look at NBC, he's on 24 hours a day now. Because that was a big thing in the '80s. I mean, they had those 24-hour networks so they started to launch. Along with cable. That was a big shift
oh
in media
yeah,
then. So
right. 24 hour, yeah, like
mhm,
ESPN and MTV, yeah, stuff like that, where it just
mhm,
always was on because TV used to go off at a certain time.
yeah.
What programming would. So yeah, that is a change and a shift in the zeitgeist, and it just happens, man. And I wish people our age kind of accepted it versus always talking about they wish it was. I guess everybody wants nostalgia
It,
to
it,
matter or
it's
whatever, but
tale as old as time. So I mean,
right. And I'd be
so
like, y'all ain't getting that shit back, brother. Like that
it's
shit not coming back,
just
man.
yeah, it's like the same way. Every generation has a version like something to be the way it was because it just it's a sign that it no longer revolves around us in terms of popular culture. When things shift like that, and some
Yeah,
people
because
they're
these niggas,
fighting.
these niggas willing out Ricky Martin. Boy, y'all desperate.
Well, I will say,
Ricky
in defense of older artists, I mean, it is nice to see older artists just, still be active in some sort of way. I mean, obviously he probably still tours, and I know Buster still tours, and
Oh yeah.
Mariah still does, and
Ain't
they
none
still
of the
release
people,
music and stuff. So
on
it should
food
be an outlet
stamps.
for mature artists, to do stuff. But I get what you're saying too. Yeah, they trying to reel in the '80s babies, and
Yeah, like Lord, Ricky Martin, shit. But this brother starving. But
stick your bomb
but
on,
yeah,
yeah.
man, that's where we at, man. But before we get ready to wrap everything up, I know you wanted to talk about what we talked about episode 2 ago with what's his name? Kenya Barnes?
King Bears.
Barris, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well, basically, it was just like a little update. The last time we talked about how Kenya Barris and Mike Epps were starting planning to do this sitcom based on the obviously wildfires which happened earlier this year, and there's been a backlash against that. People saying it's too soon, that this isn't the right thing to do to help the community, and so this is a Hollywood Reporter article, and they cite him as they talk about how some people like it, some people are cautiously optimistic about it. Um, and they quote him at the end of this article saying that it's on an Instagram post. He commented that in defense of himself, saying, "What way could you think of supporting it then by doing what I know how to do and trying to bring light to a place that many have already forgotten?" I understand your fear, but know that I only plan to do the best I can to make sure the world sees you. So that was a comment he left on the IG post. Basically just I guess it's just saying that this is how I know how to respond to things. This is what I do, um, and this could be a good thing. Is what he's saying. So
So I don't think this shit gonna get made, and it's probably a good thing that it doesn't get made. And Godspeed, man. I'm sure he'll find something else to slap his name on and hawk at us. Um, but do better, man. Do black people in media and studios and shit like that do better.
Yeah. Which I'm not again. I mean, historical. Should we? I watched a whole series about the Tulsa Rise. Which is sci-fi, i.e., the Watchmen. So I mean, I'm not against citing historical tragic events for artistic fodder. It's just that this just seems so. It's just to turn around so quick. It's literally been like less than a year since this happened.
Yeah, and I don't think that was done with the same uh crafting and intention like Watchmen was with that shit he was trying to do. That just sounded like, man, let's pitch something to the networks that's trendy and happened not too long ago, and we kind of can maybe they'll bite on it because it's something that happened not too long ago, and we can kind of make it feel heartfelt in some moments while being funny. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
It just feels
Mm.
like a cash grab versus being like intentional and trying to like really put some thought into what happened to like document the pain and loss. You know what I'm saying? It just don't feel genuine at all. It just feels like an opportunity to get a network to greenlight something because you using a recent tragedy as the main line of the plot. You know what I'm saying? Like it
Mm.
just kind of comes off as cheap versus something like Watchmen where you had people with a lot of first. I mean, Watchmen they wanted to honor the comic and
Mm.
really try to do that justice, and then they also wanted to make a statement. You know what I'm saying? They wanted to use like some historical context as well, which I can appreciate. But this shit just feels like it's just two niggas in a high going through the news articles or just sitting up smoking, scrolling on Instagram or social media, and they like, man, you know what would be a hell of a funny thing if we just made a comedy, but it had like some heartfelt moments about like some real shit. You know what I'm saying? And that's the pitch. It's like, nigga, what?
I mean, yeah. I mean, it's just. I think it's more. I think it's just the timing. Is like I said, it's so soon. Like, it's happened in January. The wildfires did in Altadena, and it's. I think just I think it's just the proximity to when it happened. I think it's just the premise. I think it's more like a documentary or like a docu series. I think it'll be. I think the reception would be different, or the reaction would be different to it. Sitcom. You think sitcom, you think like it's light, right, like a laugh track. It's just you don't think of it as it's something that can really handle the weight of this ongoing situation. It's not it's stop the families are still displaced. Some of them, you got the disaster real estate people coming in trying to pray, swoop in like vultures and take the property, and you got that going on. So I think it just if even if the decisions were good, I think it's like rubbing salt in the wound. You know, it's still very fresh.
Mhm. So yeah, I agree with that, and I just think that just we need more people in these writing rooms because I mean feeling like these writing rooms between Tyler Perry and niggas like Kenya Barris, I can what's his name?
Kenya Barris.
Kenya Barris, niggas like that. It's too much ego, too much them really just bullshitting with yes men or just themselves versus like a real fleshed out uh writer's room with people from different backgrounds and different levels of experience who can be like, man, I get what you're trying to do, but I don't think that's a good idea.
Mm.
People need sounding boards. Sounding boards are not bad. Feedback is not bad. But you get these people who get a hit or two and they feel like they know every fucking thing and everything they touch is gold. So they don't need a sounding board because I got this show on Netflix, got this show on ABC, blah, 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 blah. It's like, bro, just stop. But that's TV for you. So
Mm.
that's pretty much this episode. If you sat through the whole thing and listened to it and enjoyed it, thank you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your energy. We'll be back soon. Definitely going to look for some more topics to cover, some more deep dives, stuff like that. I like stuff like this, talking about stuff that we kind of had a piece of history with, and just seeing how it is now versus how it was then. Just talking about the document, just put it in context and whatnot. And yeah, just moving forward with just making episodes that, somebody likes and somebody listens to and says, huh, that's cool, that's interesting. So moving forward with that. But thank y'all. Subscribe to the YouTube,
Mm.
follow us on Instagram. And thank you for your time, your energy once again. I'm Uptown Bobby,
And I'm K Clark.
and we are out.